President Volodymyr Zelenskyy called for a moment of silence during an emergency session of the UN Security Council in remembrance of Ukrainians killed in the war with Russia. The meeting was called at Kyiv's request to discuss Monday's Russian missile attack on a crowded shopping mall in the city of Kremenchuck. Zelenskyy has accused Russia of terrorism and wants it removed from the council. Russia has repeatedly denied it deliberately targets civilian infrastructure.
In reality, there was no strike on the shopping centre. The Russian armed forces used precision weapons to strike hangars with Western weapons and ammunitions received from the United States and European countries in the area of the Kremenchuck road machinery plant.
Zelenskyy later released CCTV footage said to be the moment of the missile strike on the Kremenchuck shopping centre.
And a green light for NATO expansion. After 6 weeks of debate, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg says that Turkey has agreed to support the bids of Finland and Sweden to become members of the military alliance, ending a major debate over the issue. The three countries have signed a joint memorandum to, quote, extend their full support against threats to each other's security. Now, this is a reversal by Turkish President Erdogan, who had opposed Swedish and Finnish membership, claiming that the countries provide shelter to a Kurdish group that Ankara regards as terrorists.
Ghislaine Maxwell has been sentenced to 20 years in a U.S. prison for helping financier Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls. Judge Allison Nathan said Maxwell's horrific scheme inflicted incalculable harm on victims. Last December, the 60-year-old former British socialite was convicted of recruiting girls for sexual encounters with financier Jeffrey Epstein between 1994 and 2004. Sarah Ransom was one of several women who gave impact statements to the court about how they were victimized by Epstein and Maxwell.
I was raped 3 times a day sometimes, and I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
A total of 20 men suspected of playing key roles in the November 2015 Paris terrorist attacks, 14 of them in the dock. In Paris's special criminal courtroom, 14 of the surviving men were tried for their involvement on the night of November 13th. Among them, the sole survivor of the 3 gangs of jihadists who staged attacks across Paris, Salah Abdeslam. Also on trial, men aged between 28 and 39, including Abdeslam's childhood friend Mohamed Abrini, dubbed the Man in the Hat. Abrini was accused of having provided weapons and logistical support during the November attacks, before fleeing to Belgium, where he decided at the last minute not to blow himself up during the March 2016 attacks in Brussels. These defendants were prosecuted for several crimes, including participation in a terrorist organization, complicity in murder, complicity in attempted murder, and complicity in attempted murder of individuals holding posts of public authority. He's the oldest person to be found guilty of war crimes during the Holocaust. 101-year-old Josef Schotz knowingly and willingly took part in the murder of 3,518 prisoners as a Nazi guard at a concentration camp, found a German court on Tuesday. Prosecutors said he took part in the shooting of Soviet prisoners of war and the murder of others using the poisonous Zyklon B gas. The war crimes took place in the Sachsenhausen camp between 1942 and 1945, where 200,000 people, including Jewish people and opponents of the Nazi regime, were detained. Some of the 17 co-plaintiffs were survivors of Sachsenhausen, including Leo Schwarzenbaum, who died aged 101 in March this year.
Ethiopian and Sudanese forces have clashed at the disputed al-Fashaga border area following the alleged capture, execution and public display of the bodies of 7 soldiers and a civilian killed over the weekend. Sudan said on Tuesday that it had recaptured several of its territories that were being held by the Ethiopian army. The latest comes as the quarrel over al-Fashaga, where the northwest of Ethiopia's Amhara region meets Sudan's breadbasket Gedaref state, which has been settled by Ethiopian farmers for decades, escalated in recent years alongside a diplomatic spat over Ethiopia's construction of a hydropower dam.